Are you ready?
We are ready.
All right, by my time, it's 3:31. I'd like to call this meeting of the Columbia Development Authority to order. My name is Kim Fusey. I'm the manager of the Port of Umatilla.
Greg Smith, Director of the Columbia Development Authority.
Emily Collins, CDA.
Joel.
Bill Peterson, Port of Morrow representative.
John Schaefer, Umatilla County.
Jeff Weinholz, Morrow County.
Commissioner.
And legendary. And
Bob Blanc, Port of Umatilla alternate.
Thank you. And Emily, can you help us with those that are online?
Yeah, JD.
Good afternoon, everybody. JD Tubby, Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation.
Elizabeth.
Howard, attorney at Schwabe, attorney for CDA.
Doug Olson.
Doug Olson, Umatilla County Council.
Sherry Smith. Barrett Thorson.
Barrett Thorson, East Oregonian.
Cindy Timmons.
Cindy Timmons, Umatilla County Commissioner.
Josh Burns.
Josh Burns, Umatilla Electric.
Karen Jones. Kelly Doherty.
Kelly Doherty, citizen, Morrow County.
Karen, did you come off mute?
Yes, I did. Karen Jones, public.
Rebecca Ramos.
Rebecca Ramos Anderson, Boylan Ramos.
Ryan DeGroft.
Ryan DeGroft, Business, Oregon.
And a participant. I believe that's everybody. And
Michelle Lanigan.
perfect.
All right, thank you. Welcome to everyone. Next on our agenda is a public comment period, 3 minutes for each speaker, if anyone would like to make a statement to the Columbia Development Authority. Please, Michelle.
Where is the best place to be so they can hear? Here?
Yeah, these are both microphones.
Okay, so I think most everybody knows me. I'm Michelle Lanigan. I'm former depot employee, former base transition coordinator. And that was a position I held starting in 2012. I actually went to work for the depot in 2003 and then, in 2003. And I only mention this because I'm probably the most knowledgeable person alive when it comes to the depot and the BRAC process. And I wanted to point out that, I know you are aware of some of the things that have been going on as far as Greg Smith, and you have lost your funding because of that. While working for a state representative, he ran his development business, which is fine, except he was inputting his time card with the Port of Morrow, who's managing his funds, with hours that he didn't work, and then verifying his own pay. Last December and January, the Army conducted an investigation on Smith, the CDA in the Port of Morrow. And one of the other things I wanted to mention is, I don't know that you are aware of this, but the depot, the transfer of the depot was delayed for many, many months, maybe even more than a year, because of Greg's lack of willing to talk to us and communicate with us. He was not available for meetings. He would, literally for months, we would have meetings scheduled and he would not attend. And this went on. And then when it was ready to transfer, he did not have the processes in place in order to be able to accept the property in, such as the zoning and the tax lots and all that. So that took another 6 months or so to resolve. So as a result of the financial situation that was going on, the Army audited the Port of Morrow, the CDA, and Smith. And as a result of that, they sent a letter, and this was last December, January. And then in February, they sent a letter to the Port of Morrow, since they were the fiscal agents for the CDA.
About 30 more seconds, Michelle.
Seriously, you're going to be that restrictive on it?
3 minutes per person is what we have, yes.
Well, I could send a letter, but you guys all know that you lost your funding because of Greg. And now you're continuing to have him here. So my question is, why is he here? If I had not shown up for my job, I would have been fired. If I had cost my agency, millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars because of my actions, I would not be here. I would have been fired. We all would. And it's not just incompetence, it's embezzling money. It's falsifying your time cards. And that was why the Army asked for the Port of Morrow to return the funds, was because he was falsifying his time cards and then verifying him himself. So the big question is why is he still here? Why are you guys doing that? How can you justify continuing to pay his salary when he cost you all your funds? So who's paying for it?
Thank you. Anybody else? Public comment?
Yes, Karen Jones.
Thank you, Karen.
I share many of the concerns that Michelle just stated. And I don't quite understand because I've missed some of the meetings. But I just wanted to say that I agree with many of the points that Michelle has brought up. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we move to the consent agenda. And we have 4 items on there. You have information in your packet about each of them. And I'm assuming that you have taken the opportunity to go through that. So I'm looking for a motion on the full consent agenda, items A through D.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I second.
Been moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda, items 1 through D. And those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item number 4.
Can we get JD?
What was that?
Can we get JD?
I didn't hear you.
Can we get JD?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, JD. I apologize.
Mr. Chair, would it be possible for us to adjust the agenda just a tad bit and allow Rebecca, our auditor, to present her report?
On work session 3A.
Yes, sir.
That'd be fine with me. Anybody object to that?
Nope.
Okay, go ahead and introduce her and let her be.
Perfect. So before us on the phone is Rebecca Ramos. She is the auditor for the Columbia Development Authority. She's here today to present the 2023 audit report and to accept any questions from you.
This is just 3A, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, thank you. Rebecca?
Okay, so of the draft 2023 audit, does that sound correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Did anyone have questions on it? I received 1 email from a board member. I believe I answered their questions. Have not received any other questions, inquiries, anything. So, I need a rep letter signed in order to issue the audit. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are. I'm not sure what you guys are looking for.
Normally we have a report and then you tell us whether we have a clean audit, and we're assuming that that's the case. And then who would you like to sign the letter?
Yeah, so there were no findings. It's the 2023 audit, so there really not a lot happened in that time, obviously, because the land didn't come until later that year. There's no findings on the audit report. We have all the reports and subsequent schedules in there that are required by the Army. Those are on pages 25, 26, 27, 28. Those are the supplemental ones that the Army requires. So those aren't in a normal audit. They're specific for your guys's. But yes, there was no findings. I just need a board member to sign the rep letter. It doesn't matter what board member.
All right, great. Any questions or comments from members of the board? Joel, John, Jeff, everybody okay? JD, you have any questions about the audit?
He's shaking his head.
No.
Okay. Rebecca, thank you so much, and if you could get a copy of that letter to Emily, then we can get your signature.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, great. Do you want to go back up to the informational reports, or did you have?
Just very, very briefly, with the 2023 audit being wrapped up, we are now going to initiate the 2025 audit.
Same process?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Is there a 24 audit or what? Did I miss?
That was completed.
Okay, so we went backwards in time to get the 23 audit.
Correct. Correct.
All right.
So do we need to have like a motion designating who to sign the,
We should.
Okay.
since Kim's the chair, I'll make the motion that we have Kim sign the letter from the auditor.
Been moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded that I sign the letter from the auditor. Everyone who's in favor of that indicate by saying aye.
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 All right. Motion carries. Thank you. And Emily, I'll look forward to that. Greg, would you go ahead and do 4A 1 through 6 and just touch on them, and
Yes,
if
sir.
there are questions or comments, we can do it one at a time.
Yes, sir. So starting with the road project update, construction has started on site over the last couple of weeks and is going to ramp up right after Thanksgiving. Tampany, our contractor, started on the east side with clearing and grubbing and some initial earthwork. They've installed a new conduit at the main entrance and are working on fiber relocation. We anticipate, as a reminder, that the total project cost will come in, or the total project will come in at $10,982,685, but that includes a $1,263,937 contingency. And so when it's all said and done, we've allocated $7 million from House Bill 2017, $5 million from UEC, for a total of $12 million, for a $10,982,000 project. Should you add the remaining dollars plus the contingency, that leaves 21% set aside in the event of any overage. A couple things I do want to highlight on this is we're working with Umatilla Electric on a few remaining items that they need to check the box on in order to allocate their portion of the $5 million. One of which is they would like a motion or some type of recognition from this board that the $5 million is dedicated for road construction.
Did we already do that?
Sir, I believe we have, but UEC would like that in a more formal process.
Okay, and then I had a question. My recollection of 2017 and this $5 million is that the language was broad enough and general enough that with the amount of money that is remaining, if it isn't taken up in a contingency on the road, can it be allocated for infrastructure? Is that my
Utility
understanding?
purposes, yes.
Utility purposes, okay.
Yes, and the state of Oregon defines utility very broadly.
Okay, and what did you say that UEC wanted?
They would like, and Josh is on the line, perhaps he can address this further, but one of the checklist items is they would like some form of motion from the board acknowledging that $5 million is dedicated for the road construction.
So before Josh goes, I will declare, I don't know if it'd be a potential conflict of interest, but I just want to state for the record that I am on the board of directors for Umatilla Electric.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you, Greg. Yes, sir. That's what we're looking for, is just some verbiage, and it could just be a board motion that states this was intended to serve for the road, and that's what it will be utilized for.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John. It's been moved that we acknowledge that the $5 million that was designated through the legislature to UEC was dedicated for the road. Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Those in favor indicate by saying aye, and you're going to abstain.
I'll abstain from this.
Okay. So we have one abstention. I voted in favor of that.
Yes. Yes.
And JD, we're looking at you.
Yeah.
All right, motion carries. Thanks so much. Thank you, Josh, and we appreciate everything that you guys do.
So the second issue is Umatilla County litigation at a very, very high level. So that way we can have a very open conversation on this. I believe the only outstanding issue remains is the payment of legal fees. To date, the Columbia Development Authority has accrued fees of $174,388.50. If you subtract out $25,000 that has been paid by special districts insurance, that leaves a difference of $149,388.50. There's two ways that I can recommend to our legal counsel to handle that balance. One would be to split that difference in half between the Columbia Development Authority and the county. So you could take $149,388.50 divided by 2. That would equal $74,694.25 between the two parties. Or I could take the $149,388.50 and divide it by 5, the 5 parties, and that would be the balance or an owing for each party of $29,877.70. The $29,877.70, both the Port of Umatilla and the Port of Morrow have paid their portion already. Without going into tremendous detail today, Morrow County and the Port of Morrow in conversations about the payment of future.
And these are for all these are legal fees?
Correct.
We're talking about only, and
Or simply for
the,
Umatilla County litigation.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you looking for action on this or some conversation or those parties that have paid? It's already been decided that those who have made the payments have agreed that $30,000 is worth settling this.
So what I would share with you is I'm going to defer to Elizabeth and ask Elizabeth if she would like us to have this conversation now or to hold it and have it in executive session.
Well, we didn't notice it for executive session. So I'm not sure it's gonna be covered for that.
Okay.
So
And I also am not the primary lawyer handling that for CDA, so Mario is, and I don't know that he's available for that conversation right now anyhow.
Why don't we just have a conversation then among ourselves? So we're looking at $30,000 a piece to get this settled and move on. And I'm just asking for your temperature, your appetite to come up with that kind of money.
So I'll start. As my attorneys have said, as we have said on multiple occasions, we will pay 1/5 because we still believe that we are 1/5 of a partner. So any outstanding bills, 1/5 of we would say yes to.
Okay, so that's Umatilla County, Port of Umatilla, Port of Morrow.
Right,
Two
yes.
other parties, JD and Jeff.
So Morrow County's position is the same. We feel that we're responsible for
Okay,
20% of the bill.
JD,
I think we'll pay the 20% as well. And we just have to have it finalized. My understanding, I mean, I don't want to get into the contract too much, but my understanding is that the settlement of those terms have been taken out of that settlement, correct? With the expectation to be settled outside of the contract or outside of the settlement agreement?
That's an option on the table.
if you see that your way through with the IGA, which is how some of the rest of us got there, that'd just be awesome and we can move on. 20%?
Yes, but I think that needs to be noted within the settlement agreement. That's the justification on it. Was that in there? Okay.
I agree that it should be, let's put it in the settlement agreement so it's clear.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
I greatly appreciate that direction. That is going to be a major hurdle.
If I could do cartwheels, I would. So thanks to all of you, each of the members of the parties.
So I guess just, hey, what would the next step be, or?
So what I will be doing is taking the message you folks have shared with me today. I will be sharing it with our legal counsel at Schwabe. and asking him then to take that message to the other legal counselors for discussion.
Well, I think where we're at that point is just getting it executed, because that's the only term that needs to be finalized. Then we can execute it. Then we can dismiss the litigation. Actually, Umatilla County would dismiss the litigation at that point.
Thank you. That's great. Item number 3, Greg.
Sure. On November 6, 2025, Boardman's motion for summary judgment as it relates to the Oregon Rural Fire Protection District litigation began. Arguments lasted about an hour. The court thanked the parties for participating and said they'll take it under advisement. On Friday, November 11th, 25, I received a declaration, a supplemental declaration from the Boardman Rural Fire District that they asked me to sign. What that declaration entails is acknowledging that 28 acres of a very thin strip of real estate on the westernmost side of the Morrow County property does not belong to the Columbia Development Authority, but it still remains in the hands of the United States military. And
Is that the U.S. military or is it the Oregon National Guard?
The Army.
Okay.
Yes. The Army will only transfer that slim portion, that corridor, after environmental remediation is finished in coordination with regulatory authorities and separate future cost is completed. The reason I share this with you is, without speaking for the Oregon Rural Fire Protection District, I believe this is their key argument in stating that they can serve the Morrow County industrial lands quicker than the Boardman Rural Fire Department by accessing that corridor. Again, what I'd share with you is that may or may not be accurate, but we do not own that property and we have no ability to authorize them to utilize that.
Okay.
If you need a reference, I think it's printed in the front of all your packets.
And there should be a little map there.
It only printed the really top corner. I don't know why, but I think that's the part that we need.
Okay. Well, this is the section that has not been transferred,
That
correct?
is correct.
All right.
That is correct.
So how is it going to be?
Eventually.
Once they get it cleaned up.
Once they
After
get
the
it cleaned
remediation, after the remediation, so.
And who's doing the remediation?
So that is a work in progress. I anticipate it's gonna be, the Army is telling us it's about a 3-year process based upon how past work has been accomplished. I guess it's gonna be 5+ years. But then we have to go through a finding of suitability to transfer, which is very similar to the negotiation that occurred on our past real estate transfer.
Okay.
Hence where that expertise in doing a FOST.
Thanks. Other questions about that? Thank you. Item number 4.
Yeah, on the paper farms lease renewal, I just want to remind this board on November 18th, 2015, a 5-year lease agreement with an option to purchase for $80,000 was agreed to with the paper farms folks. Since that time, at the end of the 5 years, it became obvious that we were not going to have ownership of the property. So we entered into sublease agreements, which entailed approximately, but $8,000 per month, with the proceeds applied to the $80,000 sales price. What has been holding up the sale of this process is the property line adjustment as it relates to the Confederate Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation. That process, as we're going through Umatilla County, Beaver Farms has been most patient. What I'm requesting, and I already have authorization to do it, but with the les pendants placed upon us, I would like authorization from the board to continue and enter into an additional sublease for the next year until the litigation is complete, and allow Beaver Farms to continue to make their payments.
Do you want that, or do you want it based on the fact that the list pendants looks to me like it's nearly amount?
That's my understanding from what I heard earlier.
Yeah, based on everybody paying their bills and the attorneys, crossing some T's and dotting some I's, Looks to me like that's gonna be lifted. We might have language that we could proceed with some immediacy on that.
I can report that back to Steve. I just want to be very clear that Cleaver Farms has done everything within the agreement. And, but for the Liz Pentons, I see no reason that we would not allow them to move forward.
Why don't you just, give Steve the update based on the conversations we've had today that what we've been saying is we're very, very close, is that we're not kidding this time. We're very, very close.
Perfect. Okay.
John, is that agreeable?
I think we should have a special meeting before our next regular meeting to wrap it all up.
Okay.
That's where plus I think we are.
You give me a date and we'll get it scheduled.
All right, that sounds.
Talk with our attorneys and we'll get back to you.
We'll see what we're looking at. That sounds great. Thank you so much.
CDA office update. I have no update as of today, but perhaps in the future.
And this is the Hermiston office you've been talking about previously.
Perhaps, yes.
Perhaps, okay. And then you've got some great news on 6.
Yeah, an igloo rental update. I want to share with you that as of today, we have 10 igloos rented with 9 renters. In addition to that, the CDA uses 7 igloos. We use those igloos for storing equipment and a generator. These are things we anticipate at some point auctioning off. The board has already authorized your staff to proceed forward with that. In addition, the Red Cross has 12 igloos, of which by accident, we verified that they are utilizing those for storage of equipment. When I say by accident, we're verifying who is using what based upon historic lists. As we entered the igloo, found out that it is being utilized, we locked it up and shut it. Walla Walla Foundry has 4 igloos. Hermiston Generating has 1. So a total of 34 igloos in use. The question I do have is for Umatilla County. We've assigned them igloo 1098, igloo 1099, igloo 918, and igloo 923. Are you folks still using those?
Dan's got his hand up.
Two of them for sure.
Do you know which ones?
I don't.
Okay.
I think some of that's part of the pipeline project is in some of those, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they consolidated down to 1.
But then Sage has 1 too, doesn't he?
2.
Yes, 2.
Because he has material from all over the state. He has stuff for tribal.
What numbers did you say that we have again, Greg?
Yeah, 1098, 1099.
I think those are the 2 numbers.
Okay, 918 and 923.
Okay, let me get back on those because I want to find out for sure which ones we have irrigation stuff in.
And then just as a little bit of trivial pursuit, Morrow County, on your side of the line, you have 99 igloos. On the Umatilla County side, and I did not break it out by perhaps future breakout, but there's 199 igloos. And C2IR.
Say that again. How many?
199.
On which side?
On the Umatilla County side.
Okay.
I did not break them out by or county. I can do that.
Or tribes.
Tribes have
Oh, we do have that.
based upon a future property line adjustment, the tribes will have 247.
That's great. Okay.
So where are the 10 that have been rented out?
The 10 that have been rented out, we can get you those numbers. Primarily, folks are wanting double doors initially. That's on a first come, first served basis. Once those double doors are rented out, folks who want to lease will have options for the remaining. We're trying to do it in a systematic manner to where we're starting one portion, the southeast corner of Umatilla County, the southeast corner closest to 8284 in there. And then we're working our way back.
Back north or back west?
West and north. And again,
So yes, okay.
it's not as simple as you think because you've got Red Cross igloos that have been scattered throughout that area. And you also have several CDA igloos that are scattered. And so it's not as simple as a simple line across, which I was hoping to have.
Does the state of Oregon have some in
Not through us,
it?
not currently through us.
The military department thing, because they do have
They
some.
could.
Yeah, the military, but also state force.
Not in our list, at least.
We have a very detailed list. We can give you a copy of it.
I wonder if one of those that's in the Umatilla County name might be the state courts.
Could be.
Is there a person in Umatilla County I can reach out to on this?
When they closed, there was,
Sage?
Yeah.
John, sorry to interrupt, but when they closed, we do not have the state for having to.
No, this is fairly recently, the state requested to put some documents in there for storage. It was since the transfer.
Right.
But I can't remember if they're, I would imagine, I'm guessing they're in our name, but I don't, for sure, certain.
We'll get Sage a call.
Yeah, well, I would say sure.
I've got the numbers written down so we can take a look.
The last thing I'd share with you is, under other, we met with Swanson Insurance Group. We're working with them on, making sure that insurance policies are up to date and, covering those items that are needed. Incidentally, they undertook a very comprehensive, appraisal of the property. And I can provide a copy of that to all of you if you'd like. It's interesting to take that appraisal and compare it to the one that we commissioned. They're very different. And right now I'm in the process of going through and reading those differences. In addition to that, there's 5 different steps we can take. One of which is join an association that'll save us 2% on our SDAO coverage. And then there's other steps we can take to save up to 10%. Our goal between now and January 1st is to exercise those 5 steps and to get that 10% savings. The reason I share the first step with you is, does anybody have a preference on which association we join? We can join the Oregon Public Courts Association. We could join the counties. We could join the firefighters, but we do need to be part of, actually counties we can't. It needs to be a special district. I apologize.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, it needs to be a special district. So if anyone has preference, let us know,
I
but
don't have any preference, whatever's most convenient and profitable for the whole. And speaking of which, notwithstanding the lot line adjustments and so forth, I'm assuming that the revenue from the rented igloos will continue to go to the CDA rather than the respective owners. Is that correct?
that'll be your guys' decision.
I thought that the income for a period of time went to the CDA.
It is correct.
Okay.
Correct. As you said.
Lisa?
I would just suggest the Special Districts Association of Oregon, SDA, would be the one, because I think they consider our IGA as a special. Right. Okay. If you get treated that way, it's a great organization and got a lot of good training.
Thank you, Lisa. That sounds great.
Really quick before we move off that, we as a board should be throwing bouquets of roses at Port Moro as we were going through the checklist of items that need to be navigated or managed. The Port Moro picked up a tremendous amount of that load over the years. And so everything from IT assistance to auditing and bookkeeping assistance. And so thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you.
Mr. Chair, that's all I have under informational reports.
All right. So we're back on work session 3B for the 25-26 budget approval. Want to give us some guidance on that?
So what I share with you, board, is before you, again, is the fiscal year 25-26 budget. I'd open it up for you folks to have a discussion and decide if this is something you want to approve or not.
And this has been proposed and we approve or we adopt.
Adopt, excuse me.
Okay, so this has been approved, and so you're looking for a motion to adopt. Even though the language says budget approval, we're talking about adopting the budget. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so correcting the agenda to say adopt, I'm looking for a motion to adopt the FY 25-26 budget. So we've proposed, we've approved, and that's in collaboration with the budget committee. And so today we're looking for adopting the budget, and this is a necessary item, and so if anyone is willing to make that motion, that'd be great. John, you had a question?
Well, I'll wait until a motion's made second, and then for discussion, I'll have questions.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to adopt the budget for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded that the FY 25-26 budget be adopted. John, did you want to bring forth your questions now before I call for the vote?
I'm just kind of curious, because the salary in here was back when we had this discussion this summer. So executive director salary is not lining up with what I'm seeing on the proposed contract.
The discussion for the personal services contract?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not lining up at all.
All right.
I don't know, I haven't reviewed it.
If we propose, approve and adopt the budget, that does not necessarily mean that, my understanding is that we have to spend the money. I'm assuming that each of you put together a public budget like this, have some leeway in there, so my understanding of this, and I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding of this would be that the salary could be adjusted notwithstanding the budget being adopted for a different number. Joel, did you have something?
Well, yes, I think if we were to pass the personal services contract, personnel services under this budget would go to zero. And there would be a line for, the budget may need to be reviewed and amended.
Okay.
But yeah, yes, the complete total personal services section would drop off, and there would be a contract, a monthly contract payment.
I think we're still in that period where we make comments about the approved budget before we adopt it, so.
Right.
So why?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Why don't we see how the rest of today goes, then we can adjust those
Yeah,
numbers.
that hasn't happened yet, so, yeah.
Yeah, please, Dan.
The only issue I have with doing it that way, the chairman, is these numbers are what we have to budget for as Umatilla County and as each of these.
Yeah.
These need to be close to as true as possible. We can make transfers later. But we don't want to overpay by $300,000 or $200,000 or $100,000.
Correct.
Now, because that means that we have approved and committed those funds in our budget. So I think I'm just a word of caution is we need to be careful how we look at this budget, because that is what we're gonna have to line item as a county.
Okay. So sounds to me like we need to move forward with some of the other items on our budget, on our agenda. See where we are on the personal services agreement, and then make the requisite budgetary adjustments. Is that, am I just picking that up, or is that what we're saying?
I guess it's, how did you put it? It's been approved and adopted, so we still can change it before we adopt it.
That's correct. My understanding.
Any sense we could do that?
There's a period of time under there where adjustments can be made based on conversations like the one we're having.
I think,
okay,
Joel, I'm not trying to slow anything down. I just think it's important that everybody has, or just taking back realistic numbers to their board. So,
I agree, but that
but
means
I don't want to slow anything down.
well, we can't do that
A
until.
lot's happened since the budget was.
Right, yes, that is true.
That's exactly what I
It
was,
stopped.
yeah.
I agree.
Greg, how about if we proceed with the rest of the meeting, and then based on how things turn out there, we authorize you to make the necessary adjustments so they're in alignment with, the personal services contract and so forth.
I'm here to serve.
Okay, thank you so much.
So a question on that, though, is that we're 5 months into operating under the framework of this budget, those wages being paid and everything according to this schedule. It isn't ever starting at the beginning of the fiscal year. We're 5 months into the fiscal year. So those funds have been spent in accordance with what has been proposed.
Today.
And until the contract is approved and signed and implemented, we will still be operating under those assumptions.
Sure.
Not being the budget expert. I would kind of lean towards what Joel is saying, is that if we were to adopt this now, and then once the contract, if a personal services contract is signed, it becomes effective, and we know that date certain, then we come back and we do a budget review or amendment to the budget.
I agree with that, especially at the county level, because then we can move funds back into a reserve, back into wherever we want to move them. Do we just reduce the obligation at that point then?
So, you know, I mean,
I don't think so.
because I think that the Port of Umatilla has been paying monthly, you know, not paying, taking the whole budget amount and prepaid it in advance. They've been paying monthly. So, you know, they haven't, you know, prepaid some of this and once the amended budget, if that were to happen, then their monthly allotment would just go down, I would assume.
We, and I believe the Port of Morrow has been paying based on the bills that are there and our 1/5 portion. So we've just been trying to pay our bills based on what they are, because we're talking about attorneys and you know, so on and so forth. So
Lisa.
I do have a comment, because I think that you're right. The personal services right now has already been going for several months. When you make a change to a contract, we will be reducing the personal services amount and not necessarily putting the same amount into a personal service contract below. But you will have excess funds someplace else under the materials and services category.
I guess that's my point. It should, once we approve it, do those dollars stay committed to the CDA, or can they be returned that obligation back to the member?
This is an internal working budget.
That's what I thought. That's
okay.
Well, this is JD. One thing I might suggest too is like, you know, in the future when we have, like if we budget for a land sale, for example, if you budget for a land sale, but that land sale doesn't actually go through, but you can reduce, I mean, as part of a budget amendment, you can reduce that based on what revenues are going to be. And if the need is changed that reduces the amount of need, we can reduce the amount of contribution from the partners. I don't know why we wouldn't be able to do that. So just because we adopt a budget today doesn't automatically lock us in for the entirety of the contract. We can still reduce that if it's no longer needed.
That's my assumption, and thank you for stating it so well, JD.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Once you reduce that, you have an approved budget in this amount of money. Does that zero does it stay in the CDA? I mean, and if that's the case, I don't have a big problem with that. But I think everybody should know that whether it goes into materials or a reserve or where it goes, it doesn't come out back to the member.
Oh, okay.
The surplus will not come back to the member because it is an internal budget.
That's correct. At the end, what you would have is a for the subsequent year, you would have a beginning balance.
Or you can do anything with it, a beginning balance, a reserve of some kind.
Of some kind, but there's going to be money there.
Send it back. Well,
If we don't spend the money this year, but we have committed to make our requisite contribution, there would be a beginning balance that would be different than otherwise.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so if that's the case, we could go ahead and adopt.
When you say approved, but you mean approved by the budget committee?
It's already been done.
It's been approved. It's already been approved.
That's what I make sure that.
Yeah, it's been proposed, it's been approved. And now we're looking at an adoption, and based on these conversations, it sounds like if we go ahead and adopt it, but we don't spend the money, then in the next fiscal year, we will have a different beginning fund balance, and we can build a budget based on that.
Sure.
So
that's right.
I'd suggest we go ahead and adopt it, but that's just my opinion. And we did have a motion in a second, and this has been really a vigorous conversation. I'm going to call for a vote. So we got a motion and a second to adopt the budget. We've had some conversations about what will happen with the money. Those in favor of adopting the FY 25-26 budget, indicate by saying aye.
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 I,
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. That's great. Thank you so much. Item C, Greg.
Yeah, I'm gonna reserve my comments on this. And I would just remind folks that, multiple public, or excuse me, ethics accusations have been, made against certain board members and the director as it relates to the CDA's relationship with the Bank of Eastern Oregon. I have submitted a letter to the Oregon Ethics Commission requesting counsel and guidance on this. I've not heard back yet. And so, that's all I have to report for today.
Okay, item D.
I would share with you that, before you are policies and procedures that have been adopted and or are a work in progress, or policies that are looking for guidance on. They include everything from a procurement policy to travels and meals, credit card policy, public records request policy. Again, that would be a modification, very much like the public procurement conversation, misconduct reporting policy, board conflict of interest, signature statement, conflict of interest policy, media policy. These are policies that the board over the last several years has raised as wanting to have on the agenda for discussion. And so a draft of these are before you. These drafts have been created by legal counsel and are before you if you choose to have a discussion on them.
Okay. So you've all seen what's in the packet. Are there any one of these that you want to discuss in greater detail, or want to reserve that for another time? So you have more time to look at what's in the packet. Joel, please.
We should talk about the procurement policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
You looking at this, the one we have in our packet is a work in progress. It was not adopted, but although it says adopted, and then there's no past delete date. So it's a work in progress rather than adopted.
Actually, I think we adopted it back in 2023, didn't we?
We adopted a policy.
A policy that is different than this.
That is correct.
This one has differences, yes.
I'm having a hard time finding which one you're talking about.
Procurement policy.
I believe it's in the 2023 policy at the
Okay.
very back.
All right, thanks.
So, yeah, the back section.
I have a couple questions on the same one. One is, well, again, I guess it is gonna decide what happens with personnel services agreement later in the meeting, but it says the executive director and an appointee of the CDA board member shall act as a local contract review board for the CDA. If this happens, we will no longer have an executive director, is that correct? If that,
Yeah, I think so, yes.
so,
That wouldn't effectively happen until your executive director resigned. So just to clarify, you would need to have that extra step. But otherwise, I think you're hitting on an important issue.
okay, so
We need to adopt this. Or
I have another question on it. I'm glad you're on, Elizabeth, because, so with the contract review board, would that also qualify for the future personnel services agreement? Would that go in front of the contract review board?
Well, so it depends upon which version of this this policy you're looking at, and I am not quite clear on which one is current. So I was hoping that you guys would have this discussion so we could get clarity on what this policy says, because it is the foundation for making the motion about a personal services contract, this particular personal services contract being exempt. So
I printed the one from today's agenda is what this one is, that I'm holding up, that you probably can't see that I'm holding up, I just realized.
Oh, the remote world is not always perfect. So the one let me look on the one that's here. And sorry, I have way too many things open on my screen, so let me get there. Okay, so the one that I have that's connected to the agenda says it defines the board as the CDA board members and that they shall act as the local contract review board for CDA. But that's different than I think the one that is
But
associated with.
if you look at the, under definitions, look at board,
Yeah,
front page.
that's
It
what I'm looking.
says,
Oh, is that different than the one you're looking at?
mine says the executive director and an appointee of the CDA board member shall act as the local contract review board for CDA.
The one that's in the book here, John, is the one that Elizabeth read.
Yeah,
Well, I think this is the confusion though, is that we have two different versions and I'm not sure which one is the current version. I had the one that says CDA board members shall act as the local contract review board for the CDA. That's the one that I've had in my files for a very long time as being the current version, but I understand there's been a question raised about whether it's the current version or not. So whether it is or isn't, I think the board needs to be clear about who it defines as the board. And then there's a provision in section 1.03 that says, also talks about the local contract review board. And it provides an exception, but it basically says that the local contract review board, which however we define it, we need to define it clearly, can act except as otherwise provided in the rules. And then if you look at section 1.06, which are the exemptions, and that's the provision we were looking at during the special meeting, the personal services contract and personal services can be an exemption from procurement, but the decision to exempt it needs to be made by the board or its designee. And unfortunately, I think in both versions of this procurement policy, it's not very clear who it's talking about when it refers to the board in that paragraph. So I think it is worth clarifying that so that there's sort of no question about who has authority to make that determination if you guys decide to move forward with a personal services agreement.
Does anyone object to having this clarification made, then present it to us in a more clear manner for a subsequent meeting?
I think it's important to do it right.
Okay.
I agree.
Why don't we do it right and therefore do it later? Let's refer this back to legal counsel to put together something that is clarified and consistent that we can accept in a subsequent meeting.
Well, I will need some direction on what you guys want to do because I can't make the decision about who you think should be making the decision about as the local contract review board. Do you guys want that to be the board or do you want it to be the executive director and a board designee?
I think, I don't know that many, but the ones I do know of, it's usually the board.
Right.
I'd be more comfortable with it being the board.
Yeah,
You guys, is there a consensus that we have to be the board?
Well, yeah, but we did vote on this in 2023. When did that change? I guess is my question.
It hasn't.
It has not changed.
It has not changed. Yeah.
But look at if you go to the meeting minutes, all right, let me pull that back up.
The 2023?
Yeah. Because I was in here, let me pull that up. That was.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I most certainly was. And okay, so.
What was your recollection about the motion then, John?
Well, I'm reading the minutes is what I'm gonna read. And Jeff, you and I were both there. It was page 16. Here's the policy. And it's what I have with executive director. It's page 16 on the minutes of July of 2023. And oops, sorry, it's conflict of interest, not sort of 68. It's okay, it's page 21. And it is what was adopted, as it Stephen says it right here, right there, adopted. And it has board, the executive director, and an appointee of the CDA board member shall act as the local contract board review board for the CDA. So it was there in 2023. And it was July 25th, 2023 is when we voted on that. I'm looking at the minutes.
That's great.
So I'm just trying to figure out, when did that change?
It didn't for some reason, but it was discussed. And we'd have to go through all the minutes to find out where this was discussed as, and it was adopted or to be presented and adopted. It just, that wasn't done. I mean, this isn't, so I don't know why, I guess I'll have to look through all the minutes to see why this document was done. But we're talking about changing it, possibly, yeah.
So changing it,
adopting it, yes.
So modifying it, because it was adopted, that's what.
It was adopted.
Okay. That's my record.
So I think
I mean, it's in the minutes.
So
Yes.
do we want to change it and adopt it to have it be the board? That's the question, because if we do, we can have Elizabeth, we can direct Elizabeth to change the language, and we can adopt a budget different than the one, or not a budget, a policy different than the one for July 23.
Yeah, I think if you were gonna make some changes, I mean, you don't have to wait for me to do it. You can make a motion to make changes and adopt it with revisions. But it would be to clarify in definition section 1.02 that the board is the CDA board members acting as the local contract review board. And I recall you guys talking about this too. I think it was when we started to do contracts, do more contracts, was when that conversation occurred. But that's been a minute, so I don't remember all the particulars. And then section 1.06 sub B sub C, I just think to avoid confusion, I would suggest, I don't think it's necessary, but I would suggest adding CDA before board in that last sentence where it says the board or its designee shall have discretion to determine. I would suggest that you guys just insert CDA there. Again, I don't think that's necessary, but it would.
We also insert that where it says the board declares the following exemptions at the beginning.
Yeah. I think it would be a little more clear there. It's probably okay either way. I mean, what's a little bit confusing is that nowhere. Actually, it's probably okay without it now that you asked me that question, because we do define board. If we define board as the CDA board members, acting as the local contract review board, then you're probably okay without it.
John, are you or Joel comfortable making a motion that reflects the changes in the language in adopting these adjustments to what was passed in July of 23?
So what, I guess, spell it out a little bit more clear for me, Kim. What are you asking exactly?
Apparently, we voted on a policy that had the executive director and one member of the board. And now we've been talking about having it be the CDA board. And apparently there were some conversations in the interim between now and July 23rd. And so my question is, if our preference is to have it be the entire board, the entire CDA board, are either you or Joel comfortable making a motion to that effect, that we can vote on it and then have that be adopted? Adjust the language of the motion of July 23.
So you're talking under under board under 1.02, correct?
I think so.
Whatever you say is the
Changing the
description.
definition of board.
Okay. And with that, I'd make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, been moved and seconded, that we clarify the language on the procurement policy by having it be the entire CDA board. And I'll call for a vote on that. Those in favor of doing that?
Aye.
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. We appreciate those of you that are so attentive to detail that we can get on the right track. So what else do we have, Greg, on this list that we haven't covered? That was a really important one. Thanks, Joel, for bringing that up.
Well, some others have brought it up. But yes.
So you're now to personal service agreement and settlement agreement.
All right.
That would probably be a good.
I think you can stay for the personal services agreement, but not the settlement agreement, but that's up to you. So I want to just say a few things about the personal services agreement. So my understanding, based on the emails that I have seen and the communication that I've been having as the chair with our legal counsel, Elizabeth, is that she's been trying in previous meetings to have some sense of each of your disposition about what needs to be in the personal services contract, so that we can have some more a more unanimous view of this, rather than having a split vote about, what each of us think about what that ought to be. I think that's why she's been sending out language for you to review and consider, and then adjusting that accordingly. I think what we have before us now is a draft personal services agreement, or a personal services agreement that you've all had an opportunity to look at, take to your boards, talk about, consider, and so forth. And Elizabeth, is this the part where we look at making a motion on this, or do we need to be in executive session for this?
What about all these policies we were gonna look at? We skipped all the policies.
Next page. I understand.
Yeah, it did look like but there's travel meals and credit card policy and.
I thought we covered that, but we didn't.
I brought them forward. If you want to discuss them, perfect. If you want to carry
do them
the
another
next board
time?
meeting, we can.
No, we have time. Go ahead.
I'm just,
hit pause on what I was talking about for the personal services agreement. Do you have other things on these other policies, any of you?
well, there was one on the misconduct reporting policy. I think it may have gotten fixed, but the port directors were mentioned in it, and I thought it should just be CTA director. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That was one of those that was a work in progress. Those corrections have been fixed.
Okay.
Yep.
The corrected one is in the packet.
Right, okay. I thought that I was looking, I couldn't find it again.
Yeah.
Plus, okay, I think. Yeah, otherwise I didn't have any other questions. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's not a problem. Anybody else on these policies? Okay, Elizabeth, do we need to be in executive session for this conversation that I've been having about the personal services agreement so far? I don't think we've talked about anything that needs to be in there.
If you want to move into executive session, it would be to discuss the documents that I sent to the board with my comments.
Okay.
Otherwise, not necessarily, but Chair Pusey, you do, given that we had some issues with the procurement policy, I think that we need to go back and have the board make a motion to confirm that the executive administrative services type of personal services contract that we're talking about here would be exempt from further procurement requirements, because the motion that we made last time doesn't necessarily match the current policy. So I do think that you need to make that motion again, but as with the currently adopted policy that you guys just adopted.
Okay.
And then I'm happy to, talk about the personal services agreement, my comments.
Let's do first things first then. Help me understand again what we're doing with the procurement policy. I thought we had already decided on that.
Correct, but you decided it with a different policy in place.
The time,
right?
timing thing.
With this policy in place.
Yes. I don't have the motion in front of me anymore.
Here, I can grab it. Right, so it's actually in the minutes from the special session.
Okay.
And I would actually suggest a little bit of a refinement to that motion, just to be even more clear with the policy. So as proposed and voted on, it said the personal services agreement between the CDA and Gregory Smith and Company LLC meets the definition of a personal services contract under the CDA's procurement policy. And no further procurement requirements are necessary for the CDA to enter into the agreement. What I'd like to clarify is that the type of personal services agreement that would be determined to meet the definition of a personal services contract is, my words, and you can modify these if you want to, an executive and administrative services type of contract. I think that type of emotion more clearly aligns with the policy language.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I found it. Now what was that you said?
So, yeah, the policy requires that the board have discretion to determine whether a particular type of contract or service falls within the foregoing definition. So I'm looking back at the policy. And I think the motion that we passed said that the specific contract was a personal services contract that fell within that exemption. I think to be more precise, it would make more sense for the motion to say,
Elizabeth, stated in such a way that someone in this room can say, so moved.
okay, all right.
All right, yeah.
Give me a sec. And an executive and administrative services contract, such as the one between the CDA and Gregory Smith and Company LLC, meets the definition of a personal services contract under the CDA's procurement policy, and no further procurement requirements are necessary for the CDA to enter into that type of agreement.
Thank you.
I would so move.
I will second.
I moved and seconded. All of you heard that. I can't recite it back. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right. Now we're back to this personal services agreement. And did you suggest it's now time that we could go into an executive session, Elizabeth?
Certainly can. Yep.
All right. So, Greg and Elizabeth will call for you in a little bit. Thank you.
Joining with me to review this, you're gonna have to list it.
What's that?
Do you want me to read it? Read the statement?
Yes, please.
Okay. The CDA may hold an executive session meeting for the permissible reasons stated below under ORS 192.6602. Representatives of the news media and designated staff and other persons shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience will be asked to leave the room, or the CDA board may adjourn to another meeting room. Representatives of news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision will be made in this executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room. ORS 192.6602F. The consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. ORS 192.6602H to consult with legal counsel regarding the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed.
Welcome back, everyone. We have a couple of items left to discuss. We've come out of executive session, so we now have personal services agreement, settlement agreement. And Elizabeth, I'm going to look to you. I don't even know where to begin this conversation.
Okay, I think if folks have any further changes or discussion on the draft personal services agreement, now would be the time for that.
Okay.
Well, I guess
Go ahead, Joel.
on page 4, is it item C? Or place
Of the which agreement?
Okay, which of the personal services agreement? Nope, I'm in the wrong
Well,
place.
you're good. Changing shall to may.
Shall to may.
Yeah.
Yes, the CDA shall or may grant consultant access.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was on page, well, it is item E, which termination, item E.
13.
Provide CDA, no, it's sufficient detail of the breach and an opportunity for the CDA to cure it rather than consultant.
Okay.
Was that on page 5? That last
The-
one?
Right at the top.
Yeah.
There's E.
Yeah, so instead of consultant, I could change to CDA.
On the last sentence, correct?
Yeah.
JD, did you have anything?
I think the biggest ones were there were like typos and a few clerical errors, editing
Okay.
that occurred like in the scope of work.
John?
Just under exhibit A, task order number 4, Water Rights Division number 1. Update the CDA board on all water rights. The word on should be read for all.
Jeff, how about you? Do you have anything?
So it was on page 10, it's exhibit A, task order 3, 1, then A, smart goal. It's in 1 year, seek and obtain, and suggest removing the obtain. Being able, you can seek, but there's no guarantee you're going to obtain any grant funding. Seems like a unreasonable burden to put on someone.
Would like seek and try to obtain, would that work in there?
Sure.
Well, if you look at seek and obtain, seek is that you go out for the grant, and obtain is if you get the grant. There's a lot of work in receiving the grant back, so that could be how you look at the obtain part.
To me, obtain means that you got the money in hand,
Okay.
but that's the way I interpreted that. But I wouldn't have a problem with putting try to obtain, but Lisa will raise her hand.
Task order.
Oh, okay.
Then did we not have a 7 and 8? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
There's 2 7s, is that the?
Yeah.
2 7, so
Two
it's
task
just-
orders.
Yeah, okay. I saw that too.
All right.
So
And
You agree on try to obtain, is that what we're doing?
I would say that the other discussion point is, because right now they're listed as SMART goals, and it's just like as a goal or task, or I can't remember what term to. It doesn't necessarily be a SMART goal, because SMART goal, it's a specific acronym, so it just needs to be like deliverable or
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, that's specific SDS. We couldn't figure that out.
yeah. And I think, and then not all of these strictly meet that, I don't think. But I do want to make sure that they're kind of all like, they're at least deliverables.
I can just replace SMART goal with deliverable.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
That it? Did you get those, Elizabeth?
I did.
Okay, all right, what's next now? This is part where we vote on this,
Well,
Or we do the settlement agreement, or
or do we do the settlement agreement first? Elizabeth?
You make a motion.
Yeah, you guys are the board, so I mean, you guys need to decide what motion you would like to make with regards to the personal services agreement and with regards to release.
okay.
Okay,
So we could move to approve the personal service agreement contingent on release of known and unknown claims as defined by Elizabeth or as negotiated.
Sure, as drafted by me.
Drafted.
that sounds good. Do you mind making that, motion, Joel?
I think you just did.
I think I did if it,
Can you
Okay.
clarify with the edits though that you just went through? That
yes, with the edits made today.
so you're good with that motion on Elizabeth?
mm-hmm.
I will second
Did you
that
get
motion.
that?
Okay,
Contingency part?
Yeah.
Okay.
been moved and seconded. You heard the language that Joel used.
Before you proceed,
Yes,
I'm going to declare a conflict of interest. In that, I have not had an opportunity to look at the agreement that's before you. I do not know what's in that agreement, but a conflict could exist. And I want to make sure I get that on the record. My understanding is the conversation you're having today would be to benefit Gregory Smith and Company LLC. I understand the conversation you're having today would be to the benefit of Greg Smith and perhaps to my wife Sherry Smith, and so I declare a conflict noting that. I want to note that I have a potential conflict of interest as I am a member of the Oregon Legislative Assembly. And I do not want any perception that that elected position was used in any way to advance the discussion that you folks have been having. If there's any other perceived conflict of interest, I would ask you to note it now so I can declare it. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We have heard some conflict of interest language, thank you. And I will call for a vote. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Right, motion carries. Anything else for the good of the order tonight? I certainly appreciate all of your, go ahead, Dan.
Are you guys gonna set a date since,
Yeah.
so that we can get everything complete? Get the litigation done?
We could do that.
Yes,
So
you
for the
talked
good of
about
the
that
order,
before.
let's talk about
Were you
next
talking
time
about
we
the
put together the
date?
meeting.
Yeah.
Have a meeting so that.
So how about Thursday,
Get it out.
2 days from now?
That's
Not on
Thanksgiving
Thursday.
now. I don't want to have to be.
I'm available December 3rd.
I am not.
I'm available December 10th.
I am not.
I am available December 16th.
For me.
Well, I can do the 16th.
I'm available in the afternoon.
Is this the regular scheduled board meeting or a special? Sorry.
Regular.
Perfect.
Regular meeting on the 16th.
In the afternoon. I think I heard JD say the afternoon.
Can we have that early in the afternoon, JD, 1 o'clock?
Yep, that works.
Okay,
If you want me there, I do have a conflict at 1:30. I also have a conflict at 3. Sorry.
we'd like you to cancel those.
I could, yeah, I can do big out of the 1:30. I can try to get out of the 1:30. Did you say 1 o'clock?
We said 1.
Okay, I'll do my.
And where do we want to meet? This okay, Lisa?
Yes.
1 o'clock here?
You know what the agenda is.
What's that?
Will somebody notify me of the agenda? Can I prepare for you?
What do we have on the agenda for the meeting of the 16th? There's going to be some, Greg will have had a chance to look at the personal services agreement by then. So I think we've got 2 items on the agenda, unless you've got some other just regular monthly business. Okay.
And yeah.
So we're talking about the same items that we just discussed, executive session A and B. We'll be doing that in an open session. We should put a provision for an executive session, but then any other regular business that will help you with work you're doing.
Yeah.
And can we include the motion on Port Memorial fiscal agent explaining what that role would be?
And have that be on the 16th, have that role be described. That's okay, Lisa, you can relate to
That
that.
is okay. I do have some other questions. though.
Please, go ahead.
We've approved the personal services contract. So if he signs it, would we be talking about it again on the 16th?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Next question is, are we going through any more of the policies? that are
Yeah.
not listed on the agenda today?
I suggest we go through them and then we vote on them and get the date put on, stamped on them. Permanently on the policy,
For the upcoming meeting, correct?
the upcoming meeting, yeah,
Okay, all right.
just, yeah, I mean, we looked at them, but we didn't actually, we didn't vote on any of them. Nobody disagreed with anything, but then we need to vote and get that.
Okay, Greg. All right. Anything else?
Well, so would it also be having the discussion, if nothing else, or update on the litigation signing?
That was the
That was the main reason.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought I was.
But it
gonna say,
wasn't- it wasn't vocalized.
No, Dan did say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
was cool.
Wasn't wasn't part of that the Board of Umatilla and Umatilla County were gonna come out with a joint statement about that?
That was at one point, but I think that got.
Is that still on the table?
I don't think so. I can
Yeah.
look. Yes.
Okay, you're gonna bring champagne.
I didn't know if that would be drafted by
It'd be a
the
good day to
attorney.
start drinking again.
But, okay.
Maybe not.
Can you send the table?
No, I can't, if I'm not on the board.
Okay.
I do have one more question, that'll clarification, because if the personal services
I know.
is executed, we need to terminate employment.
Okay.
So I'd like for that to be clear and
Can Elizabeth hear her?
Yeah, it can be a resignation.
Okay.
Doesn't need to be a termination, so when we wouldn't want to still have employees when we have a personal services contract that covers what those employees would do. So we just need to coordinate that, Greg, with you and Emily to do a resignation coincidental with the effectiveness of the personal services agreement.
And just because it's already 6 o'clock, and Joel, I'll bring this up. So on all of the policies, are we gonna have to change out where it identifies executive director?
Yes. Yeah, yes, we will.
Okay, that's good. I just follow up.
Okay,
That was one of the things I brought up.
anything else?
Absolutely.
Meeting's adjourned.